You ever have that feeling where the more you try to explain yourself, the less people seem to actually hear you? It's super frustrating. Well, today we're going to dig into this really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive idea inspired by Machiavellian thought. And it's this, that real respect doesn't start when you speak up, but actually the moment you decide to go quiet. Let's dive in. I mean, think about it. It's drilled into us from day one, right? Use your words. We're supposed to talk things out, explain our side of the story, make absolutely sure we're understood. But what if that's all wrong? What if that very instinct, that constant need to just fill the air with our own voice is actually what's undermining our own influence? What if all that noise is exactly why people tune us out? So you've really got to ask yourself this, and be honest. When you jump in to explain yourself or to justify something, are you actually trying to connect with the other person, or are you just looking for their approval? Because, the answer to that one question, it changes absolutely everything. And that brings us right to the heart of this whole explainer, what we're going to call Machiavelli's silent strategy. It is all about how using silence on purpose can completely shatter the normal rhythm of a conversation. And in doing that, create this powerful psychological edge. Now, let's be super clear. We are not talking about that awkward, uncomfortable silence where everyone's just staring at their feet. No, this is strategic silence. It is a deliberate, calculated choice. It's using quiet as a tool to create some breathing room, to kind of throw people off their game, and ultimately to gain influence. It's a weapon, not a void. So how in the world does this actually work? Well, it's basically a four-step process. First, you just take away the noise they're expecting. The immediate answer, the defensive comeback. Step two, this creates a vacuum, which leads to confusion and uncertainty on their part. And then, and this is the magic part, they start projecting their own stuff into that silence, their fears, their assumptions, their story. And just like that, you've gained control of how they see you, all without saying a single word. There's this quote from the source material that just hits the nail on the head. It says that all that noise, all that chatter, it's just easy to ignore. But silence, that's unforgettable. And it's so true, isn't it? The constant talking we're all used to just becomes background static. But a well-placed, deliberate moment of quiet, whoa. That gets everyone's attention. It forces them to lean in. And this taps into a really basic piece of human psychology. We just don't value things that are too easy to get, that are always there. When a person is a total open book, you can predict their every reaction, their every response. They lose a certain kind of respect. Real power, the kind Machiavelli was talking about, is found in being unreadable, in having a little bit of mystery that keeps other people on their toes. Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But how does it actually work in the real world? Let's talk about that. Let's look at how this strategy plays out in some really high-stakes situations, like a negotiation, a big argument, or even in our own relationships. Okay, look at this. This is where the rubber really meets the road. In a negotiation, the person who talks too much, they just sound desperate. The silent one holds all the cards. In a heated argument, the one who keeps explaining just loses their cool, but the one who stays quiet, they control the whole conversation. Even in relationships, constant availability can make you seem predictable, almost boring. But a little bit of strategic space, that makes your presence feel so much more valuable. I mean, the difference is night and day. Okay, so here's a super practical tactic you can literally use tonight. The next time you're in a tense argument, just fight that urge to jump in and defend yourself. Let the other person talk. Let them get it all out. But here's the key. You are not listening to plan your counterattack. You are listening to observe, to figure out their real angle, their fears, what they're really saying. Then you can respond from a position of control, not just raw emotion. In the business world, this is basically a golden rule. It's simple. The person who talks the most in a negotiation, they lose. And why is that? Well, because they're the one desperately filling the silence. And in doing so, they're giving everything away. Their needs, their weaknesses, their deadlines. They are chasing the deal. The person who can just sit back and be comfortable in that silence, they force the other side to show their hand. They let the deal come to them. And yet, they almost always get the better end of it. So if this strategy is so effective, why is it so ridiculously hard to actually do? Let's get into that. Because the biggest challenge here isn't the other person in the room. Nope. It's usually the person in the mirror. It's our own inner battle. The reason this is so tough is actually pretty simple, but it's also really deep. When you go quiet, when you take away all the external noise and distractions, what are you left with? Just you. That silence forces you to sit with your own feelings, your own insecurities, your own discomfort. And let's be honest, most of us will do almost anything to avoid that. So what's really driving this need to fill every gap with noise? Well, it's usually one of these things. It's our own discomfort with the quiet. It's deep down insecurity. Maybe it's a bit of an addiction to being seen and heard, or that constant need for validation. Or maybe it's just that urge to smooth things out because we're afraid of what might happen if we just stop talking. So here's another gut check question for you. The next time you feel that itch, that urge to fill a pause in a conversation, ask yourself, honestly, am I doing this from a place of strength and control, or am I doing this because I'm afraid? All right, let's bring all this home. It is time to stop thinking of silence as this passive, empty thing. We need to start seeing it for what it truly is, an active, powerful tool that you can use to actually engineer respect, to protect your own energy, and to control the dynamics happening all around you. We live in this age that's all about visibility, right? Being seen, being online, being available 24/7. But real lasting respect doesn't come from being everywhere all the time. It comes from selective presence. It's about scarcity. When your time and your attention aren't just given away for free, they become infinitely more valuable. So what does this look like in practice? What's the path forward? Well, it's pretty simple. 4 steps. Number 1, stop feeling like you have to constantly prove yourself. 2, stop justifying your every move. 3, start actively protecting your presence, your time, your energy. It's valuable. And finally, number 4, don't be afraid to step back sometimes and let your absence be felt. That is often when your true value becomes crystal clear to everyone else. I want to leave you with this one last really powerful idea, and I'm going to break it into 2 parts. The first part just shatters our most basic assumption about influence. It says, power doesn't come from how loud you are. And here's the punchline. This is brilliant. It comes from how many people adjust themselves when you say nothing. Just think about that. That's the ultimate measure of influence. It's not about yelling until people listen. It's about having a presence so strong that people literally change their own behavior in your silence just to see what you'll do next. So you're at a crossroads now. You have a choice. Are you going to keep filling every silent moment out of pure habit and fear and just keep chipping away at your own influence? Or are you going to embrace that little bit of discomfort, learn the strategy, and start using silence as the powerful tool it is? The choice and all the respect that comes with it is completely up to you.